You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Something burned inside me. I wanted to be different. I was determined to be unique. I was driven to think big and to dream big. I always wanted to be very intense. I always wanted to be number one. I took it very seriously in my career.
To Cameron, and everything that Cameron's just been through, it's kind of what I'm hoping for is that everything that he's just explained and the way that he made it work and everything that he did was, you'll see how that fits to everything I'm going to say. Some of the things I'm going to say, all of what I'm doing tonight is my opinion, it's my view, it's my way of what it is. You can accept it, listen to it, take it on board, challenge it if you want. But yeah, it won't change the way that I view it, so it makes no difference. But it is my opinion. It doesn't come from anywhere in particular, it comes from a series of different things that I've gone through or taken up or studied. Like I said, sports psychology for me is a massive subject. Motivation, personality are two of the key areas that I like to look into, which is where it draws a lot of my attention. And hopefully you will know that already because of the way that I will coach, I don't like that word, but coach, instruct, whatever it is that I do. Hopefully you'll be able to tell that already and hopefully from the way that I do things as well. I want to try and not get, I don't want it to be boring, I want to try and make it interesting. I'm going to give some feedback at the end, I'd be appreciated. No. But there are some bits I want to go through. All of this feels like utter bollocks now since what we've just been through, but it's still going to be relevant as to what we're doing. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to start with talking about
Sorry, it's cold. Just carry on.
my things. I'm going to talk about my things and the way that I think in the last probably year to year and a half, everything in terms of the way that I view it has changed. And all of the my motivations have changed, what I do, and the reasons I do them have all changed as well. And I don't know if there's any individual circumstance that happened that made that happen or became a thing, but I'll try and explain it to you a little bit more. What I've done is I've brought just a selection of my little but what I want to do is I want to get you lot involved in it, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these out. I'm just going to say to you, most of you know me and what I do or what I've done in the past, especially with the racing, so I'm trying to make it relevant to what we do. These are a selection of medals that you get for paying an entry fee, really, in some respects, that I've got here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to ask your opinion. If you were to pin these down, from your knowledge of me, which of these you feel would be the ones that I would stand there and I would tell you I'm most proud of. And then I'll try and explain to you what those reasons are. I won't go through them all, I've got a handful. So one of them is the Eliminator race. I'll pass them around, you can take a look. the Eliminator race was a 26 mile, well 26.2, in theory it's 26.2. It's a marathon, it's a trail marathon, it's the first trail marathon that they did, the judgment they put on. It was done by, they changed the name of it, it was Eliminated for that day, but effectively it was the first marathon I ever did. For anyone who knows me, I hate running, so why I did a marathon, especially a trail one, I don't know. That marathon was in February, so it was through the rivers, through the waters. It was fucking hard work.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was. It's at Pimperford Forest, so if anyone's been there, you'll know what the terrain's like. It is literally like this. Cross trail through rivers, mountains.
Alright.
Yeah, wild animals, there's loads of rabbits kicking around.
A few birds.
Yeah, and we could only take shelter under a random bridge that we found. So, but yeah, there was a lot of tough. half marathon stage, literally on the half marathon stage, I rolled my ankle, sprained it quite badly. I had to walk for about 2 miles. I had drugs. This makes it sound so popular. Supporting the wrong way around. I took some drugs off one of the guys, and I ate a block of jelly, weirdly. But I think because I was walking, that actually I was able to process that jelly, get it into me, and that actually made me feel a lot better. Carried on, got it done, ran rounds, and yeah, well, did it really well. So it's quite a big achievement in my mind. So these are the two I put together. So this is Nuts Challenge and Man vs Mountain. Those of you that know about it obviously did it. Will share the feeling maybe I have towards it. Some of you won't. My shared feeling towards it is that it's one of those ones which...
Never again will I organise anything like that.
I sort of agree with never again will I ever do anything like that either. Those two I always put together, so again, those of you that don't know, it was Man vs Mountain on the Saturday, Nuts Challenge 4 laps on the Sunday. So again, in terms of physically demanding, massive achievement. This one is Great South Run. It's the first one I did. It's a 10-mile race. It's a road race, and for me, again, running is not a big, it's not a big thing in my head. I don't enjoy it. Road running, 10 miles, Great South Run. Doesn't sound hard. It was in my local town. There's a lot of local people there.
12 years old.
Yeah, 2005.
Showing your age, comedy.
That one there is the Nuts Challenge.
Peanuts.
There's mud on that and everything, and I will not clean it.
I wasn't about to.
David, you nearly died.
That is the one that.
I haven't cleaned mine.
No. That is the Nuts Challenge that took us nearly 8 hours in and out of the cold, in the freezing temperatures. Obviously, one of the hardest courses in the country, as anyone who's been there will know.
Not the one they put you in bubble wrap in.
No, not the one I've ever. It is the one where I've got memory loss, so I went through all of that to get it. This one is. Yeah.
What year is that then?
That would be 20.
The one where you were crying like a baby.
I always quite.
And that's 2015.
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah.
2014 was the first one, wasn't it? No, 2015 is
That is that one.
the one. Yeah, that one. 2014 was our first one. This is UK Championships. I could give you my band with that as well, but you know, I like to keep that on the company. So, that UK Championships is probably, in terms of performance and result, it's probably the best performance I've ever had. Probably the highest finishing position I've ever had. I am currently ranked 11th in the country, just remember that, right? So when you go around telling people, yeah, we get coached, I'm 11th in the country, so doesn't matter, you're going to turn up, doesn't matter.
See the balls.
Yeah, and then this one, this is a European Championship, so this one was probably one of my worst performances in terms of finishing positions at a race, but the European Championships was in Holland last year, and it was probably the hardest race other than Nuts, but in terms of physical, it's probably the hardest race that I've ever done. There you go, Lee. Champion. Know what it feels like. It feels good, don't it? The European one was probably the hardest race I've ever done physically. It completely beat the shit out of me. If you saw it, I don't know if many of you saw the photographs because we weren't all there, but I was completely black and blue all through my arms, down the sides of my ribs, all my legs, everything, all the areas in the body that you would use on a race. It destroyed me. Anyone who went to hang on would have an idea as well as to what that race was all about and why it was so different. But especially for me, having going over to Holland, just expecting it to be a scaffolding race because I'd seen these strong Viking videos of just scaffold and rigs and stuff. I thought, yeah, it's going to be fine. And we turn up and it's all ropes. And it's not even rope like ours, it's the polyester rope which will proper burn into you if you get it wrong. So physically it's probably the hardest race I've ever had. And again, kept my band at it, which was probably the biggest deal. And I think in the UK, out of the guys that went for our UK, I think there was less than double figures that picked their band up and went home with it. So for me, that's a massive achievement as well. What I want to do is, those ones that, I mean, there's other races and there's other stuff that I'd stand there and talk to you about them all day, but you get bored because you compare it to Cameron. But the races that you've just seen, if you had to pin them down and you had to say, knowing what you know about me, if you do know me, which of those would you think is my standout medal that I would put on a pedestal above any of the others? Tell me now, any of them that you think.
Nuts 8 hours.
Nuts.
The one which you finish in 8 hours.
8 hours, memory loss.
I think these two, I think that weekend, because that was a crazy.
90 mountain jumps,
Yeah.
man versus mountain one day, and then being dragged around nuts by Tom on the Sunday was, it's a big
And
deal.
I think you knew you could do it, but you didn't know how
I didn't
hard.
train.
No, yeah, and I think you know how hard it would be.
Just rocked up.
You
Yeah, I'll
did.
go with that. It was a mental challenge. That was mentally one of the toughest things. Waking up the next day after
Sleep on a
being
bus.
like cramped on that fucking bus. I don't think that's a good idea. That was a bad one. Anyone else think
What
different?
about the UK Championships and finishing that rig that all those other fucking
It was easy, wasn't it? Ace?
2015.
2 hours, 2 hours.
It was easy that rig, wasn't it, Mogan? Exactly. And again, that's a standout. In my mind, that's a standout. But for me, that one stands out for a different reason. That stands out because it makes me. That race did everything for my confidence, but everything for my confidence in
The year before, didn't it?
teaching and in teaching other people, in standing in front of other people talking about obstacles. I always go into real massive depth when I go to teach something. I'll study it and study it and study it before I'll go and try and teach anybody, because I don't think it's right for you to go there with a little bit of knowledge and try and teach people. I think if you're going to try and stand there and teach someone, you can help and assist someone, but if you're going to stand there in a role where you're going to teach, you have to know it inside out. You have to be truthfully honest with yourself as to whether or not you know it. And that race for me proved to me that everything I teach is 100% right. Even though there's a lot of coaches out there maybe teaching different to me, or standing out on YouTube channels, on Obstacle TV, on all these different outlets for obstacle course racing in this country, and they might differ to me and they might have a bigger profile than I have, but it's still wrong and they're bullshit and they're not as good as me. So my way, just 16 going into that race, he should never be getting to the last hole and jumping off when he's literally past the bell. When we were there in September, can't even make it halfway across. That just shouldn't happen. That's not right. So it just gave me confidence, but it's not one of my proudest. It should be, because my finishing position is the highest I've ever had. The performance was probably the best I've ever had. Everything just worked. My running was good. Everything was. I couldn't have done any better on the day, so I should be really happy with it. But really, all it was for me was confirmation, and it was just like, well, yes, Dave, because you should. It's not something that I looked at and gone. The reason I entered the race, for those of you that don't know, I wasn't going to enter the race, and the reason I did is because I had concerns that people maybe in our team weren't ready to perform on that day. And in my mind, you need to always see that everything that we're trying to do is possible, and that is why I did it on that day. I entered because I knew I could do it. And so if I'd have lost my band, I'd have been really pissed off at myself, and it would have been a massive come down from it, and it would have gone against every reason why I signed up to it in the first place. So while I'm really proud of myself in terms of the achievement, it's not the one that stands out to me. The one that stands out to me out of all those medals is the one from 2005. It's a 10-mile road race, which now we'd all look at and we would laugh at it, and we would say, well, maybe we wouldn't laugh at it, but I would think 10-mile road race is a nightmare. But the reason I'm most proud of that is because it's only now that I'm most proud of it. Back then, it didn't really mean anything. It was a medal that was just given out to anyone who finished that race. I didn't perform very well in it. I think the first one I did, for me, it was like, I don't know, 145, 150 or something, which for me wasn't very good. I can't remember how old I was. Someone will do the maths in a minute, but it was. The reason I now see it as the most important one is because it was the one race that started everything off, and it was the one that I finished first time that I entered for me, not for anything else other than because I wanted to do it and I wanted to see if I could do it. I didn't train, I didn't do any of that, but I did go into it having never competed before, having never actually done anything or committed to anything. Me and Dave always laugh about it, but he's quite similar to me in the sense that I've gone through my whole sporting life never committing to one thing. So I've never got to a position where I am top level at it. I've just always been this guy who is okay, he's good at what he does, but it's not brilliant at any one, because I spent all my time doing that, then doing that, then doing that, then doing that, and I never fully committed to one thing. And the running thing was was the first one that sort of put me on the journey to where I am now. But back then I wouldn't have said it was the most important thing. It's not my biggest achievement, it's not the one maybe that you would put, sort of hold on a pedestal, but it is for me because it marks the beginning of something. And that will make more sense when we talk through what I'm going to talk through today. And you might understand why I would pick that medal out. No one else would because it's a shit medal as well. If you've seen it, it's not very good. What I want to do is I just want to touch on a couple of things. Me and Dave did this, what did we do? When did we do it? Yesterday? Friday? Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. And we talked for about half an hour and we could have gone on and on and on. And I have a tendency to go on and on and on. So I'll try not to. What I want to do is I want to bring motivation up. And the one thing I'm going to say, and this is, we were talking about controversy, and the things that I'm starting to do now is with Rumble being up and running and everything sort of moving in the direction that it's supposed to, my way of doing things is going to be my way of doing things. And that might be quite controversial and conflicting with other coaches, with other instructors, but that's kind of where I need to be. That's what I do. I believe in the way that I work. What I want to do is I want to talk about what motivation actually is, or more importantly, what you believe motivation is. Cam's hopefully he's already opened it up for you to be a bit more open-minded about what you see motivation is. But if you had to tell me, Dave, don't worry about this, and Vic, if you just hold on for a second as well, and everyone else unless it's the right person. Someone tell me, what is motivation?
Enthusiasm.
Okay, enthusiasm. What else?
Motivation is a driving force, isn't it? Like motivation, you talked about it in science or whatever. It means something that pushes something, moves.
Something that makes you want to do something.
Mm-hmm. So I hear it all the time in the gym. Right? I hear, I'm feeling really motivated today. I'm feeling really, really motivated. I'm going to have a good session.
But it's easy to say it. It's actually getting your finger out your arse and doing it, isn't it?
Yeah. But motivation, in the majority of people's understanding, and some people will be different because you've gone through the experiences, and some people will be different. I know that you're particularly interested in this subject, H. Motivation to a lot of people, the reason that people feel, they don't get where they're going or they don't make the goal that they're trying to get to, is because they don't know what motivation is. There's this common misunderstanding as to what is motivation, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. There's a few things. Dave, what did we say yesterday when I thought my computer just broke then. So please, not now.
I was engineer, I couldn't fix it.
It's alright, we're good, I think.
Can we just come up and take the mic?
No. Yesterday we spoke about it, and one of the things Dave said to me was that when he lacks motivation, he goes to different tools to try and help G that back up. So we've talked about what it is. What are your tools to sort of make your motivation, to get your motivation back? What do you use? One of the examples Dave gave me yesterday was videos. So you might go onto YouTube or something like that.
So if I'm lacking, I don't want to go training that day, I will put on videos of people training, because then that will get my arse in gear to actually go and do something about it. Yeah. If I'm lacking motivation on that.
What else can you do like that?
So for me, it's looking back, like for those of us that know me, I've lost quite a bit of weight over the years, and for me, it's looking back at my fat pictures.
So pictures.
Yeah.
So pictures is one. Videos is another. What else can we do? Music? Yeah. So I'm going to try and give you some examples of some stuff, right? And some of this I think is utter bollocks, and some of it I really like. Okay. If you go onto YouTube and you type in motivational video or motivational this, right? Some of it comes up and it's brilliant. You get. I'm going to give you an example. Now I love this video. And I hopefully don't worry about the shitty soundtrack. Has everyone seen this story before?
Yeah.
This comes up as motivational video. Okay? TV, so. Torn hamstring as well, for anyone who doesn't know the difference between a tear and a pull or a strain. Torn hamstring, you can barely move. You shouldn't move either, really. Right, so everyone gets the idea, right? Derek Redmond does the 400 metres, he's favoured for a medal, he tears his hamstring mid-race, and then he can't make it. And so his father comes in, gets him through to the finish line after he says, "All right, I have to do it, I've got to finish it." That is coming up because you Google it, or you YouTube it, and you search, and you write, motivational video. This is, bear with me with this, that isn't a motivational video. That is not motivation. And I'll explain why in a minute, okay? This is motivation. I knew I'd get that. This is motivation. You can actually see Roxy in a photograph for a change. Normally when you take a photograph of Roxy, she just blends into everything.
And PS4 control.
Yeah. Check that out. More of it. And this.
Who's that fat
Alright? There, that's motivation. That's my motivation. Right? So, some of that anyway. Not often. The cake on the table. That's what's my motivation. Whereas that video of Derek Redmond isn't. And I know that sounds wrong because we can watch it and you can go, bloody hell, that's amazing. And it is amazing. I love that. There's also pictures, so we've talked about pictures. Pictures like that, that's what I go to. You know, if I haven't got it right in front of me, I'll go to stuff like that. Cam had it when he was out in Iran, would have had pictures coming through and that would have helped and things like that. So we know that emotional link to stuff can help, right? Music can help. There's a difference between, I think, things that are linked to you emotionally and things that create a response. Music can physically create a response in your body. Me and Dave use it when we do any Rumble event. Anyone who's done a Rumble event, I'm talking not the individual ones that we do, but the actual series events. We use the music, and we use the music for two reasons. One, because the music is fucking cool, and everyone should listen to it. All right, but the second one is because it has that motivational link to it. Or it does for me and Dave, in a sense anyway, because it's the style of music we use to help create a motivation to train or to push harder. And the reason for that is because of the link to your sympathetic nervous system. It actually creates a response in your brain. It can help, you know, where there's music, where there's abrupt noises, it's constant changes in frequency, it changes the body, it opens your airways, it gets your heart rate up, it can just prepare your muscles for exercise, etc. I'm going to play you this. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. So just to listen, just for a bit. And just by hearing it, should hit, you should feel different. I'll turn it off because otherwise I'll just play you the whole playlist and I could be here all night. Alright, but those of you that have done it, you may have even just straight away got a link back to a competition that you've done, an event that you've done. Me and Dave will probably just think I want to go and train straight away. And that's what it does for us. But hopefully you can already tell just from what I've just said to you about the link to what that physically does. That's a motivational thing in the sense that it motivates you to push hard there and then, but it's not a motivation. It's something that is a tool to help actually create a focus, not motivation. And there's two different things. What we just saw with Derek Redmond was inspiration. And there's a big difference between inspiration and motivation. And there's so many people that get them two things confused. And that is what causes the problems of most people who can't achieve their goals. Someone who can feel inspired to do something. Cameron standing up here today talking to us about his 3,000 kilometre thing makes me want to get up and go, I might do 4 laps on the weekend. It's a little bit of a challenge. Right? It makes me feel like, yeah, I'm going to get up and go. People come to me in the gym and they walk in with that phrase, oh, you know, I'm feeling really motivated today, Dave, let's go, this is going to be really good, I'm feeling motivated. What is feeling motivated? You tell me, what is feeling motivated? If someone says to me, typical gym goer, I'm feeling motivated today, what is it?
You got fire in your belly, maybe?
On that particular day, you're striving towards a goal and you want to behave in a way that will achieve that goal.
So you're feeling that like it's achievable, that you can go there and you can actually do it, right? Mm-hmm. It's a feeling of being pumped, it's a feeling of being energised, it's a feeling of enthusiasm, right? No. But that isn't motivation either. Those feelings, feeling enthusiastic about something isn't motivation. It can't be. And the reason it can't be is because of motivation, what its distinct definition, I'll read it to you. Motivation is a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way, or what causes a person to want to repeat a behaviour and vice versa. Okay, listen to that again. A reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. Motivation is a reason for something. Motivation is something. Feeling enthusiastic, feeling motivated, that's not motivation there and then. That is focus. That is energy. That is enthusiasm for your motivation. Just making sense. Alright? My motivation now is uncapped. So I don't have the 3,000 metre checkered flag. I don't have that anymore. I don't have an event in front of me that I say, right, my motivation, my reason for doing everything else is for that end goal. Right? I do have goals set in front of me, and I do have the goals that are going to get me there. But I don't have, in my mind, an ultimate, a ceiling point. If you talk to Ian about what Rumble's going to be, he probably knows a bit more because he spent time with me when we were building. I'm going to take over the whole of Milton Keynes, everywhere. Yeah. Whether it happens, whether it doesn't happen, will be whatever will be. But it's not an end goal. I don't say, right, Rumble Fitness, my ultimate goal is that I'm going to have 20 gyms across the country. I haven't put a cap on it. And the reason I haven't put a cap on it is because constantly, like year after year, week after week, I'm seeing more and more things become available to me. More and more things happening that I can access and achieve every single time. So all of those medals, that's where that all started. That first one, that 2005 one, it's only now that I look at the 2005 medal and think, right, that is the most important one because that is the one that started everything we're doing here now. And everything that I've done up till now is because of that. Because if I didn't do that race, I wouldn't have carried on. And I wouldn't have carried on doing this stuff, wouldn't have moved into it. A little while back, I'd have said to you, right, nuts. That was my ultimate goal. That was my motivation to train. That was my motivation. I said to you earlier on, I don't like training, but I do like competing. If you said, what is my motivation in the terms of fitness world, it's probably competition is my motivation. But not the things that are there that help me get there. Not the music, not the tools that I use, not the stories that I see, not the inspiration that I have around me. There's a big difference, and you have to really know it. You listen to this. Inspiration is the process of being stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. So being inspired to do something is not being motivated. Being motivated is a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. The ultimate thing that this really comes down to is that you have to really have your reason why you're doing something. And that's not just why do you want to compete or whatever. It can be anything. It could be in life, it could be in training or whatever you want to do. I mean, there's 3 things I'm going to say. 1, motivation, as most you and the public, as most of you know it, is a load of shit. Right? It's the first thing I'm going to say. Bear with me again. The second thing, motivation drawn from inspiration alone is not enough. And motivation without the willingness to step on the other side of fear is completely pointless. And that is why motivation, as you know it, or as people know it, maybe not everybody in this room, but the majority, is bollocks. And the reason is because motivation is completely miscued. All right? You could go on motivational speeches. Everyone seen this one before? Everyone seen it? I'll skip a bit, just to get towards... It's a brilliant speech.
For those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Everyone seen that before? Quite a few people, not a lot. Charlie Chaplin, famous for being silent, and yet it's probably the greatest speech ever known. Look it up if you haven't watched the whole thing, because it's a bit more to it than that. But again, it's brilliant, it's inspirational, but it isn't motivation. It's not motivational. It's not motivational. It's not because it isn't the reason. This doesn't create any reason. This might be something that gets you focused. It might be something that draws your attention back. But that's not a motivational thing. That is something that's inspiring you to become refocused, re-energized, and focus back on what your motivation is. Harry said it, motivation is a purpose. Motivation is a reason for doing it. Some of you would have done stuff in the past, and you'd have had reasons for it and whatever it be. Your marathon last year. Things like that. You have a bigger reason to it. This is why for me now, I haven't capped it. I haven't capped it because I don't believe there's a ceiling point. I haven't found it yet as to one of these challenges. There's not one that I haven't done some part of it. Someone said to me today, did you see, there's a thread on Facebook that I commented on today, and it was saying, oh, with the mild weather, I'm thinking I'm going to do 4 laps now in nuts because of the mild weather. And you're just thinking, you're having a laugh, mate. And I went on and I commented and I gave a bit of advice, but then I said to him, you know, if you're going for it, good luck, enjoy it. But without knowing what the reason is that you're doing it, you will not do it. If it's truly hard enough, if it's a real challenge, if this is something that you're truly looking to do, unless you fully commit yourself to it, then you can't expect it to just happen for you. You're about to take something on that's insane, right? So you're going to go and walk into nuts, 4 laps. So the thing that's going to get you through it is all of the tools that you can tap into that will help refocus you, right? So we talked about music being one of them, pictures being one of them. That's the sort of stuff that you might put into your mind. There's other stuff, teams, support by having groups like we have is enough to refocus and re-energise you towards your motivation. Your motivation, you'll know for your own reasons, whatever it is. For me, nuts 4 laps the year before completely messed me up, completely destroyed my confidence. I went and did it, I think, did I get 2 laps done or 3? Can you remember, H?
I think it was 3, you were on your 3rd lap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And then that was it, and I didn't have anything else, and I had to pull out. And it was like, we'd just taken a team there for the first time, talking about how we were going to do this, we were going to do that. And it felt like the biggest failing ever. It felt like the hardest thing to ever come across. And at the time, it was awful. It was like probably the worst thing I've ever been through in terms of, you know, racing, competing for fun, this is supposed to be. And it
Traumatic for all of us, though.
yeah, lived on for a long time, didn't it, actually? But then, you know, next year, that's why then I was willing to go, right, well, whatever it does to me, I'm going to do it. And I said before I went there, unless it physically breaks me or unless, you know, someone drags me off the course, I will get it done. And we did. I might not have done if it wasn't for him, and I definitely wouldn't have done if it wasn't for the team that were there on that weekend. And this is, you know, what we talk about. But by having a team or close family or relationships or things, that can act as that tool to give you that motivation in terms of working towards that goal again. But it's not, you've got to be making sure that you always know what that end reason is, what that end product is, because if you don't know and you think you are, then you're in trouble. I've got a bit written down here about being focused. Being focused is directing a great deal of attention, interest or activity towards a particular aim. All right? That is what most people confuse motivation with. When you turn up focused, but you don't know your why, then you're in trouble. And I see this every single day in my PT clients. Someone comes to me and they say to me one of 2 things. I'm really, really motivated today. I really want to push it.
That's never me then, is it?
And you think that is brilliant. This is great. This is great energy that you see from your client. But that alone will not get you to where you want to go. It will help you, but it will only help you if you know where you want to go. If you don't know where that is, so I'll give you an example in the fitness world that I come across all the time. I want to do a body transformation. I want to lose a little bit of body fat, increase a little bit of muscle mass, and increase my fitness levels. Probably every PT and fitness instructor has seen that at some stage, right? Those that succeed are the ones that commit.
Whoa.
See that? I'm on it every single day of the week. If one of them flies in here.
Wasp, isn't it?
I don't know what it is. Where was I?
I thought it was a moth, that's what it was, didn't he?
I tell you, moths just take over, man. That's the motivation. Instant reason for being here. It's not. Bollocks. What was I saying? Right, they do their goals. They get their goals laid out, and they say, right, I want to lose weight. Yeah, I want to lose weight. I want to get fit. I want to get strong. All the usual stuff that you expect to see from the majority. Not maybe from our group as its main focus, but from maybe anyone in their fitness, in just a generic gym. They come to you and they come to me and they're really super excited and they're motivated, they're enthusiastic on their first session in particular. Right, yeah, feeling really good about this. Then I say to them, great, why are we doing it? And then they go, well, I want to lose a bit of weight. Yeah, that's great. Why? Why do you want to lose weight? And when I ask that question, that's when people go one of two ways. They go into the open channel where they go, and then they cry, or they get upset, or I didn't say anything. Or they go down the closure route, and they go down that route of trying to convince themselves, or trying to convince themselves, or trying to convince other people as to why. So the most common one is, oh, I want to get back into my clothes, or there's this dress that I really want to get into for Christmas dinner, or we're going to this Christmas party, or the summer bikini beach, body and all this kind of stuff. And you think, okay, yeah, that's great, that's a reason, but that is not the reason why. And 9 times out of 10, the reason that people fail is because they've tricked themselves into thinking they know their reason when they don't. So they say to me, oh yeah, it's because I want to squeeze into this dress. Okay, is it that? Or I want to loosen my belt off. I've spent years of extra holes in my belt, and I want to put it back into the normal belt holes again. I want to have to use the extra ones that I pierced through. All right. There's a deeper reason than that, and I don't want to get into it too much, but there is a deeper reason than that. And I had a guy come to me one time, and he came in, and he'd been into so many gyms, and he'd seen so many trainers, so many instructors, he'd been through numerous programs, none of them worked for him. And I was like, okay, how many trainers are you talking about? 3, 4, 5, 6 trainers in 3 different gyms, and none of these programs have worked for the guy. How many times have you heard, oh yeah, my program just doesn't work for me?
What's the common goal in that?
It's not very often.
It's like that weight loss thing I did.
Yeah. That weight loss course, he did this Christmas weight loss course, right, with 2 instructors he had, giving him guidance and advice. 2 instructors, and it didn't fucking work, did it?
He put on 12 stone.
Yes, that's exactly that. But this is the thing, it didn't work. But this guy came to me and he said to me, yeah, all these programs, they don't work, I don't know what it is, I'm just different. Bollocks. We all know it's bollocks. Right? If I said to you now, nutrition, we're going to do a nutrition seminar, and I'm not ever going to do a nutrition seminar, by the way, not specifically. We might break down into individual bits, but I'll explain that in a minute. We all know what's good food. We all know what is bad food, right? We might not know certain things about them, like when I stand here in front of you and I go, you need to eat fat, and everyone's like, whoa, you know what? That's not it. You do. You need to eat fat because you're using fat right now, okay? But he knew that. He knows when he's sat at home eating his cake and his biscuits and everything else, why he's not losing weight. But he convinces himself it's an external thing, it's something else, there's another reason why. So then when I sat there and I said, okay, let's forget about your programs, because let's be honest, it's a nutrition thing. This guy was, this big. He sat in the chair and he overfilled the chair. Right? And I don't want to be horrible about it, but it was, it's not good. He was not in a good position. He was probably the nicest bloke I've ever come across. He had 3 kids at home. His wife was no longer around, and he had to work and sort his kids out and provide everything. And his life was basically, he provided for his kids, he looked after his kids as best he could, he fed them really, really well, they were in really good condition. He showed me pictures of them, they look healthy, fit looking kids. And then at the end of the day, he'd have no time for himself. So he would then fill up on takeaway and quick, easy food, and he would eat the leftover stuff that was from his kids. And that was it. He didn't train because he couldn't get out of the house, didn't do any of that stuff because he had no time for everything else. And so he didn't, he couldn't do anything. So that's why his program wasn't working. So then when I said to him, I said, let's have a look at the reason why you're here then. He went, well, obviously I told you the reasons why it gets hard, but I need to lose weight because I can't run around or whatever. I can't do anything. I said, okay, that's great. He goes, I want to change my image, I want to look a bit better, I want to look in the mirror and feel good again about myself again. I said, okay, great. And I looked at him and I could tell he was holding something back. So I said to him, you're not telling me why. And his reason was that his wife had died, she'd had a massive heart attack, she was obese, she'd had a massive heart attack, she died, and his motivation that he said to me, his main reason why he wanted to lose weight was because he didn't want to die because he knew his kids wouldn't have his parents. That is motivation. His motivation comes from his kids, not from, I want to look good in the mirror, I want to put my belt back on again, or I want to feel good about himself. But he didn't know that. And that's the biggest thing about motivation. You've got to know why you're doing something before you can even try and get anywhere near it. Now we can put it into perspective, and you can talk about, you know, losing weight being your goals, whatever your goal is. You've got to know what it is that's causing you to want that goal. If you want to go and do an event, you've got to know why you're prepared to do it. Why do you want to do nuts? Do you know why you want to do nuts?
Because I haven't done it. I failed the last 2 times.
Failed or learned?
Failed.
Learn.
Right, and there's this thing, and there's, I can bang out so many cliches tonight, right? Nothing's a failure, you learn from everything. You do, ultimately. I don't see nuts as a failure anymore. I did back then, I don't anymore. Because I'm a firm believer that sometimes you're just not ready to do something. Sometimes you're trying to take a step that is too far, it's too big. And you've got to come back a little bit before you go there. So if you do go there and it doesn't happen, then you've got to look at why, and then you've got to go back to finding out how. There's a thing, whenever you go to motivation, if you looked into this at all, if you've ever studied motivation, there's a thing they call the wall, mate, the motivation about the wall. I don't know if any of you know anything about it. H, you might have come across it. And it's this thing about something that Cameron said about breaking his journey down into small bits, and then it made it easy to break it down. They say about the wall is that whenever you have an end goal, and let's say you wanted to walk in and you wanted to build the biggest wall you've ever seen, all right? You wouldn't just walk in and go, right, shit, I need to build this massive wall. You would go, here's a brick, I'm going to lay it, and I'm going to lay that brick as best it can possibly be laid, the most perfect it can ever be. And then once I've done that, I'm going to take the next brick and I'm going to put that one down by the side of it. And I'm going to do exactly the same time and time again. Sometimes the brick might break while I put it in. Sometimes it might not line up properly, and I might have to take it away, reline it, I might have to correct it or adjust it or improve it. But you do it bit by bit. You do small pieces, time after time after time, and you build it up and up and up and up and up. And eventually the wall comes there. But what you wouldn't do is go put a couple of steps in, a couple of layers in, bit by bit, start to build your confidence, and then go, right, I'll try and just get these bigger blocks in, I'll try and jump to this level, I'll try and build it faster. It's not right. You have to find the right way that works for you. You have to find a way that makes it possible. And sometimes, like it was for me, that means that you have to fail at something. Because it might be the marker that says you're not ready to do that, or you weren't prepared to do that, or you didn't put everything in place to do that. And that is the thing you've got to look at. If you know your reason why in the first place, you will put all the things in place to get there. If your reason is true and that you commit to it. This is why I say that the motivation is not enough. All right? Motivation, as most of you all know it, is bollocks. Motivation drawn from inspiration alone is not enough. And motivation without the willingness to step on the other side of fear is pointless. All right? The pointless thing is the biggest thing of it. Drawn from inspiration like this ain't enough. You watch a video, an inspiring moment. Where are we? You know, Derek Redmond. That's an inspirational thing. And right when I watch it, I'll go, right, I want to go and do something. You know, Dave gets a bit low on his enthusiasm. He listens, he sees a training video, he goes. For me, we put a song on, a certain type of music, it makes me ready to go. There and then it makes me go on. But watching a video like that doesn't make me achieve my end goal, doesn't make my motivation achievable just because of this. And the reason it's not that is because that might give me the inspiration and the spark to get me going, to go, I'm going to do something about that. And we've all had this moment where we've had something. But the inspiration alone isn't there. When you're looking into this fear, we are inherently built within ourselves as human beings to protect ourselves and to protect those around us and the things that are important to us, right? And what that does is that anytime you come into a situation where, and it's different for all moths, is my thing, right? I don't know what it is about them, but clearly there's a fear thing there. Whatever it is that creates the stimulus which creates fear or pain or the feeling of harm or difficult times or whatever it be, whenever that stimulus is there, we are inherently designed to magnify that in our brain to protect us from doing anything wrong. Some of us don't like heights. Some of us don't like water. Yeah? So if we're just going to put it into obstacle racing terms, water, heights, combination of the both, long distance, whatever it is, we all have those bits. We all have them things, those stimuluses. That when we get there, If we don't deal with them there and then, if we don't commit to them there and then, and we give that moment of hesitation, our brain, our body magnifies it. It's called the spotlight effect. Spotlight effect. It magnifies that moment and it creates an even bigger thing to get over. We've all been there at times. You've been there. Where you get up, you can be at the bottom of the ladder, you can be as enthusiastic as you want. I'm really motivated, telling myself I'm motivated to do something. Yeah, I'm motivated to climb that ladder and jump. I'm going to make that jump this time. And then you get up there and you're like, and you look, and you're like, oh. And then now, you have that thing where you can't jump.
You can't 40 minutes.
For 40 minutes. Yeah? Or you have that thing with water. You get in the water, you get halfway across it and you're like, shit, what am I doing? And then all of a sudden it becomes a bigger deal and then you start panicking. That's me. Alright? So you have those moments, we've all had them at something. I don't know why, some of them are irrational. Moths is, I don't know what moths ever done to me, but something happened. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not ready to accept my why yet. Right? But if you were let it sit there, it will magnify it tenfold. And it will make it so much harder for you to do something. Why? I've written it here. Why is it hard to be motivated then? Why is it hard? Why is it difficult to do those little things? If I'm saying, oh yeah, put the little things into place. Just take the little steps. We talked about it today. Someone comes to me and says, I want to lose weight. The one thing I do is tell them straight away, they don't need to focus on losing weight. They need to focus on creating the first stage of getting towards losing weight. So they might need to correct some habits in their life. They might need to change some of the parts, elements of the diet, but not all at once. They can't do it all at once. It's too much. Whenever I've done a body transformation course, some of the people who are in the room, I've never, in the first stages, given a calorie list, calorie count. There it is. That's what you need to do. And everyone you know in the fitness industry, not everyone you know, a lot of the diet plans and stuff you'll see. Right, what am I going to do? I'm going to lose weight. Oh yeah, just follow that calorie count. 5 and 2, eat what you want for 2 days. Eat what you want 5 days, not for your for 2. Eat what you want for 2 days, eat a strict diet on 5 days. All this stuff is limited. You have to eat this many calories, have to eat these macros, have to eat this, have to eat that. And it's like, boom, straight away. That ain't going to work. Because straight away, it's not putting the habits into place. It's not getting you into the right mind frame in the first place to do that. So you have to break it down and you have to do that long journey again. So you have to take the first step. What's the first step to what is that? That's the fly, I think. You know, you have to do the first step. First step is start putting some good things into the diet and start taking some of the bad things out. That's it. Nuts. The first thing. What was the first thing you want to do? Start getting out a little bit of running and start thinking about what you're going to be wearing. Those are the first things you do. Don't look at the end product. You've got 4 laps of nuts when we did it. Anyone can tell you, he probably did the same thing when we've not talked about this. 4 laps of nuts. When I stood there on the start line, I didn't think about the 4th lap, 4 laps of nuts and finishing it. I thought about, get the first one done. That is literally what I thought. Then it was, get the next one done. Then it was, get the next one done. And then on the next one it was like, if I get this one done, I know I'm going to finish. So, because if I'd have gone 4 laps, that's what I did in the previous year. That's what I did in the March before. And that's why I failed, because I got to the start line and I was like, right, 4 laps, I'm going to have it. 2 laps later, oh my God, can't move. So you have to break it down and make it work that way. Motivation's hard because of that spotlight effect. Everything will magnify. Anything that's hard, you'll magnify it. Looking at a gym environment in particular, if someone says to me, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, the biggest problem is most people aren't happy with something or want to change and they don't know the reason why. They are more willing to accept the shit or the pain or the suffering than they are to go and make the change. How many people, I'm here preaching about it, I've been in the position where I've done nothing about it as well. I've gone away now, we've done Rumble Fitness, we've set this up. Last year, it was a big risk to go into June and leave and do my thing. But it got to June, we had a conversation, me and Dave, and the reason that I left was because of the conversation we had. And it was about 2 months before I went, or before I decided I was going, and we sat there and I just said I'm fucking miserable in my job. And I couldn't stand it. It weren't a bad job. The job was fine. The people I worked with, all by one, were great. Fucking Dave. Alright, they were great, and I enjoyed it. When I first went into that health club, I loved it. That health club provided me with a lot of people that are in here now and in our little group. So I owe a lot to it, really. Pay was alright. For our industry, it was good. It's not good money because it's the industry that we work in. So there's no real reasons to feel miserable. But I felt miserable because I felt like it was, you know, it's a dead man's shoes job because you know that the manager's just like so comfortable in what he has. It's in my job now. But you know, as I saw it, that's what it was. I wasn't excited by going to work in the mornings. It was the first time in ever since I'd started working that I was waking up and going, I don't want to go to work. And I've never had that. I've always been one of these people, I've always been quite energised and focused, not motivated, focused to go to work. Because it's just what I see is normal and I can't step my arse for too much. But I had to make that decision there and then. I've got to do something about it, change it, make it change for me, make it better. Or I've got to sit and accept and stop being miserable about it. Because if you're not willing to make that change, if you're not willing to step over the other side of fear and be willing to overcome those things, it ain't just going to happen for you. And it's knowing the reason why. If you know why, then you're alright. I knew that I wanted this to happen. But I knew while we were in the position we were in, that wasn't going to happen because just the way that I operate, couldn't get someone to do it for me, yeah. The way that I operate, in the job I was in, I wouldn't have even contemplated having a family because if I didn't think like I was going to be moving along the ladder somewhere, I wouldn't have been happy to provide her with the upbringing she's going to now get. This stuff about family, we could all sit, couldn't we, and we could all go, this is my motivation, family right here. And it is, obviously, but it can't be the be-all and end-all, because otherwise everything would stop at your own door. You wouldn't go out and do anything beyond that. Everything would stop at home, and that would be the thing. There's that thing, there's a pie chart I talked to John about, actually. John, for all of these fucking around, is quite an intelligent bloke. And he's actually very clever in terms of business and everything else as well. And we sit and have a conversation about pie chart of life, and you should break it all down into three segments, equal segments. Family, work, and you. And those three segments, ultimately, if you can create a motivation in each one of those, you probably won't go too far wrong, as long as it's real motivation, real reason. This one, of everybody else, is the way that I operate, because not everyone reads Obstacle Race magazine. I wrote an article in there about inspiration, and it was called Inspiration Is. And the thing is there is no better feeling in my little world, in my bit, the bit about me on my pie chart, there's no better feeling than feeling like you inspire other people. And so for me to go and do all of these events, well, whatever, we don't need it anyway. To go and do these events and inspire other people and lead other people, there's no better feeling than that. If you feel like that you inspire someone else, there is no better feeling. And it happens at so many levels. Lee did it the other day, and I pulled it out, and he probably didn't like it, but I pulled him out for it and said it to everyone else. I was sat on my arse Sunday afternoon, I think it was Sunday? Yes. Yeah. Sat on my backside, and I had plans to sit on my backside. We've got plans to go to Superhuman Games, and I know, since the baby's been born, that I've put on 2 kilograms of weight, and it ain't muscle, right? So, I see Hayley, in our group, transformation group, has gone out and done 13.1 miles walking. Then I see that Lee has gone out and done 13.1 miles in like some stupid time. 1:30? 1:31?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1:31, Phil.
1:31. So then I'm like sitting there going, all my guys are out doing stuff, and I'm planning to sit on the sofa, and I'm carrying extra timber, and he's going to see Human Games with me, and I'm going to turn up not in the shape that I should be. And he's got to carry it. So then I'm sitting there going, that there has picked me up, that's inspired me to then go, right, I'm going to go out and have a run. I went out and did a run, it turned out it was quite a good run. Went, okay, I hated it, because I hate running. Can't stand it. And then I had pain in my calves for 2 days afterwards. I couldn't run, I couldn't train on Tuesday because of it. But I was pleased I did it because I got out, I did something, and I you know, it created, the inspiration was there for me to go out and do something. But that's on the smaller level, that's on the day-to-day stuff, and that happens all the time. Then there's the bigger stuff. H, I've said it to you before. I've wrote an article on it before. Alright? He is famous. Everyone knew Harry. H is inspiration for me. Cameron's inspiration for me. I try and take inspiration for everything that I can see that's positive. And I try and take a little bit of all of it from everywhere, and I try and build it into what I do in terms of my goals and my things. But there is no ultimate cap anymore. I don't cap it with anything, because as far as I see it, I've constantly achieved, because I am pretty godlike. But I constantly achieve. And everything now that I'm setting myself out for, I'm going out and I'm doing it. And that doesn't happen by mistake, you know. Turning up to UK Championships was a risk, because like I said to you before, in my head, I told myself already, I'm gonna keep my band, I'm gonna do it so that I can show to everybody, not just you guys, but other coaches and everything else, it's possible. That was a risk, because if I didn't do that, I'd have been in trouble. I guarantee you I would have done it. It just might have been a repeat of the previous year's experience of standing at an obstacle for 45 minutes. I wish that's all it was. Doing it over. But it's inspirational, because you're standing and you're like, fucking hell, this guy's still going, he's relentless. You know, and you think, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And then 9 times out of 10, that situation, it wouldn't have happened. Because, you know, I've got the scars all over my hands from taking chunks out of my fingers on the bloody metal work that it was. Still say they should have had some sort of cap on the end of it, but that's another story. From doing it, your strength, you would think, would go. You know, the colder you go, the longer you're there, the colder you get, whatever. It should be almost impossible to then go through and do it. So how does it become possible? And it became possible because I knew I was able to do it, and I knew I would. It's just how long was I going to have to stand there to do it? But I had a big reason for doing it. Sometimes your reasons maybe you need to keep them to yourself, but whether that is or not, if you know that it's there and it is the real reason why you've got to do something, you stand a chance of actually being able to do it in the first place. It's hard to be motivated, and it should be, because that is what therefore requires the energy and enthusiasm for you to do it in the first place. If what you're trying to do is easy, then why do you have to commit yourself to it in the first place? We talked about it again. Does anyone know what our quote is, what we use as our quote? We talk about gorilla being our thing. David, what is it? Handprint, footprint?
Handprint.
Handprint. Don't say footprint around David. You're going to hate it. Flight and when we go to the moon. Something about going to the moon. Wow. Something about going to the moon. Oh, please tell me I've got it. Right. Deciding. We choose to go to the moon.
Of course not. Yeah.
Listen to this speech. Don't worry about what he's talking about, just listen to it.
In an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of about a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week, we developed penicillin and television and and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, rest, to wait, if this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything. It is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, why the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure of which man has ever embarked.
Throughout that whole speech, it's the last minute that is probably the most important bit, and probably the bit that reflects most in what we do. Choosing to do things because they're difficult is the most important part of what you should take from that. We do that every single time we go to an event. Every time we sit in, every time we lay a new challenge out in front of us that's going to test us. You know, everyone keeps going on, don't they? You know, what's next? What's the next thing? How, you know, what's Cameron going to do now? Cameron probably feels like he doesn't need to anymore.
But he will.
But he probably will, yeah.
I know.
But it's the same thing. If something was easy, you wouldn't need to be motivated to do it. You wouldn't need the motivation for doing it in the first place. You would just do it anyway. Right? You wouldn't need an inspirational quote or an inspirational speech or an inspirational moment to get you up to go and do it. You do things to test yourself, because that is where the real reward is. That is where you feel like you've earned something and where you've learned something. For me, that's what's happened all the way along. Since Energize was created all the way through to Rumble as it is now, constantly done new challenges and learned from them, whether they've gone well or whether they've gone bad. And that is the key to what the motivation is. Motivation, you should recognise your success and accept the failings and use them. It's all cliche stuff. Learn from your failings. None of them are failures. No such thing as failure. There isn't really, if you can see as to where it's leading you to. For me, I wasn't ready to do the 4 laps. And realistically, I hadn't prepared as well as I probably should have done. I didn't know enough about it. If you look at it now, if you look at the figures of nuts cannot be easier. They've constantly developed it to make it harder. Yet more and more people are finishing. The reason they're finishing is because there's more and more people succeeding, which means there's more and more advice you can take from people. There's more resources for it. There's more training tips. There's more coaches. There's more kit. There's more stuff that's specific, and there's more tried and tested methods of getting through it and how to do it. And it's like anything else. It's like every challenge. 3,000 kilometres has never been done across the Rhine before, from what we understand. But if someone wanted to do it now, it would be easier now because they could go to that. And it's the same theory on everything. There's always that source of information or something. And if it's not the source of information from someone else, learn from what you get yourself. So you've done 4 laps in September. So take what you know from September and apply it to this. You need to break down everything into the small segments so that it is manageable. Because if you don't create a manageable brick by brick to get that all done, then it will become too much of a challenge for you to do it on your own. If you are doing it on your own, join a group. Be in with us. Share your goals with other people. Make them public. Don't just keep them to yourself. If you keep them to yourself and they're intrinsic, it's less likely that you're going to feel like you need to justify it and make sure it happens. Because if it's a failing, it will only be a failing to you. If it's only you that knows about it, it's not really going to feel like too much of a failure. If you're with a group, you can have the support from the group. But if you're going to be part of a group and you're going to take that support, contribute to it as well. Give back that support to the other people to be able to feel like when you get that support yourself, you truly have it and you truly are surrounded by it and it's genuine. You need to use all of those tools to re-energise you, to keep you focused. This is a speech that Harry introduced me to about 2-3 years ago. And every time now that I'm suffering, I'll go back to it because it just refocuses my attention as to what I'm truly trying to do. Doing this is not easy. It's way easier doing the job I was doing before and just picking up my paycheck every single month. But I don't come to work anymore feeling like I don't want to come anymore. Every single day, I'm feeling good about coming to work. Even when I've got all of my motivation at home and I'm not with it. Yeah? I still feel good about coming to work. You've got to make it fun and you've got to make it something that you love doing. That doesn't mean, let's take the weight loss example, weight loss has got to be fun because for a lot of people, trying to do that is only associated to crap food or not being in, comfortable eating patterns, etc., etc. It's not about that. It's about making something fun that's going to get you to that. So, if you're going to go and train for it, do something that you enjoy doing. I purposely don't try and convince everyone that obstacle racing is great. Because obstacle racing is great if you enjoy being wet, muddy and doing obstacles. If you don't enjoy doing that, that ain't fun. And it's like if someone comes to me, Dave, do road running. It's brilliant. Seriously, do road running. You do road running, enjoy your road running. I really, genuinely want you to go and enjoy it. I don't, and I won't. So don't try and convince me that it's fun. Just let me know that, for me it's not. I'll go and run a marathon on a woods and through rivers because that's fun, apparently. Make your goals realistic, but also don't compare your goals to someone else's. I saw a thing on the CrossFit Open at the moment. CrossFit's just started with its Open. Anyone follow it? And someone put a post up, and then someone put another post up saying, yeah, but you did the scaled version. And it's like, and? Well, we do it. We do our own competitions with scaled versions. And I put results up, or I'll talk to someone about something, and they come to me and they'll go, oh yeah, I did deadlift as well. And he goes, bloody hell, did you do deadlift for 3 minutes? Yeah. Did you stop? No. And they said they didn't stop, they just deadlifted for 3 minutes. And I said to them, that's bloody amazing. They're like, yeah, I know, but like you were doing 80 kilos, I was only doing it on 40. And it's like, well, what does that matter? Why does it matter if I'm doing something that's more than that? Why are they comparing themselves to me? Everybody is scaled. Every single person. Usain Bolt is scaled. Everything that we do is only a step behind what is going to be next. Usain Bolt holds a 100-metre record still, I believe, 100-metre world record. Someone one day will break that record. So then, does that mean that his achievement is now shit? I remember when I was at 1996, Donovan Bailey won the Olympic gold medal, 100 metres, 10.16, I think his time was. It was over 10. I was sitting in front of the TV, I think I was 11, 10 years old. Should know that. 10 years. Amazed by it, because this guy is just insanely blown away the rest of the field and just run. That inspired me, that was a massive achievement. But does that mean now that everyone's looking at Donovan Bailey going, well, his achievement wasn't very good? Just because nowadays he's running and he wouldn't even make the final at that time. Things change and things are scalable all the time. Me running and doing anything 5k, yeah, it's great to be competitive with people, but don't compare what I'm doing with someone else. Just because what I do is of a certain standard doesn't mean that theirs is any better or any worse. If those two people are working just as hard as each other, that's the biggest thing, that's the biggest factor. If they're both doing it for their own reason and they've achieved it for their own thing, then that matters. Age grouping. I've won this in my age. You've seen it all the time. I see it on Facebook all the time. Oh yeah, but you're only racing in age category. What does it matter? They're not good enough in terms of their physical capacity to run in the elite division. So what are they expected to do? Just become this insanely good person overnight and have to try and do it there? Or does it mean that they shouldn't be allowed to compete because they're not at a standard It's nothing, is it? That person's worked just as hard, if not maybe harder, than elite. I talk about elite athletes, and we're not talking about OCR now, we're talking about elite athletes. I say they don't need motivation. They don't need to be motivated. You talk about coaches and sports coaches, they don't need to be going into their dressing rooms and motivating their team. Their team should be bloody motivated themselves. If they're professional athletes, they already carry their motivation, otherwise they wouldn't have got to where they are in the first place. They wouldn't be in a sports team at the top level if they didn't have motivation. What they might need doing is a re-energising, a re-enthusiastic. They might need a speech to give them a bit of oomph again, to pump them up again, to commit them again and refocus them towards what their motivation is. But they should already be motivated. A coach shouldn't have to walk into a changing room and then motivate his team in any professional sport, because they should already have that motivation. And if you go across them in the world, they probably have. How did they get there in the first place? How many footballers make it? How many rugby players make it to the top of the level? 6 Nations has been played. How did they get to that level? They didn't do that without motivation, genuine motivation, and a genuine reason why. What that reason is could be completely different to the next person in the team, but it doesn't matter. You have to make sure that your why is the most important thing. If you can genuinely find the reason why you want to do something, and it doesn't matter what it is, if you can genuinely find that reason why, you always have the better chance of actually achieving it. You have to do that throughout everything that you're doing. Hopefully, I've covered everything, because it is late. But hopefully as well, some people might have agreed with that already, and some people might sit there and think, yeah, motivation is bollocks on its own. Without the reason knowing why you're doing something, or the inspiration behind it, and then the energy and the focus that has to be channeled towards it, that means that you'll achieve something. That means that you might have a chance of doing something. If you're not willing to come out of your comfort zone and commit to dealing with the pain, or dealing with the shit side of things, or dealing with being away from home, being attacked by dogs, being shot at by weirdos in the mountains, whatever it be, if you're not willing to cope with that and deal with that, then you're not ever going to achieve it. Cameron had that moment 2 weeks in, I think he said, where he said, I can't do it. But then he decided, for whatever reason, he could. And that then made him go. And then every week gave him more and more confidence to do it. My moment in competition was nuts. I failed it, I didn't do it. And at the time it was shit. But I learned from that, I took that, and I made sure it came back to the level of the bricks that I should have been at, and I carried on building bit by bit. And each time now, it becomes easier and easier. Nutty Mountain Challenge now wasn't hard. The rig at UK Championships now wasn't hard, because I put the stuff into place to allow me to make it that it wasn't hard. Be able to cope with it because I knew why I was doing it. And that's the biggest thing. If you're going to go and do any challenge, if you're going to try and set yourself a goal, you've got to know the reason why behind it. If you do that, then you've got the biggest chance of actually succeeding.
I have a question.
Go for it.
How do you find out that why? I don't know, I just want to do it. Is it because I want to challenge myself? Is it
No, because I think it depends, doesn't it? If you're looking at something and you're saying
half marathon,
you want to do it.
I already signed up for it, it's 2 weeks to go. I'm already planned all my workouts, ready for it. Just want to do it.
Do you find it difficult? Did you find that difficult to do that? So is it not then that you're just taking on something that actually you feel you're capable of already? Why aren't you doing a marathon?
I know the capabilities of myself. I have done a 20k as my longest run, and I know I can do the half marathon. Now I'm trying to do the actual race and seeing how I can perform.
So now you're trying to push it. Why do you want to push it?
To do the marathon in May.
So you're answering your own question. So if you're doing a half marathon and you've got the reason why for times, you've done it this way before, you've done it that way, now you want to do this. You know your own capabilities, so you know you're working within your capabilities. So I put it to you this way: is it hard enough? Is it a challenge enough? then you might have a
The
genuine
workouts
goal.
are challenging, but probably the half marathon will be challenging enough, but it's gonna be my halfway towards the marathon. Is it gonna count as a...
Do you not find that you love this?
Yeah.
So when you love something, far easier for you to commit to something.
Yeah.
So for you to be motivated to do it, it's not a challenge for you to be motivated to go and do a thing. So it's not even for you, it's not even a question of having to understand why, if you're already in a position where...
If you love it, Vic, it's like me going, right, I'm going to eat cake every day.
Exactly, exactly. Whereas, if I took someone like me, and you said, you're going to do a half marathon, I've got to sit there and go, why? Because I've got no interest whatsoever in it. I've got no interest in it, I've got no passion for training it, I don't enjoy it, I don't have any of that. So if I was going to do one, I'd have to then find why. You're doing it because you love it. You're doing it because you love testing yourself, because you love challenging yourself. So it's not something that you need to really sit and discover why, because it's something that you naturally come to you. If it's something like, I don't know, you'd have to pick the challenge for yourself. But like H just said, it would be like sitting there saying, well, it'd be like challenging myself to go and eat cake. I love eating cake. So why? Well, you enjoy cake. You enjoy.
We all love a bit of
cake. You enjoy
cake.
challenging.
Not
So-
just you. We all
Yeah, I
love
think
a
it's
bit of
getting that in the sense of how you find out why, but you find out why because you will already know. You already know why. If someone says to me, I want to lose weight, they know why they want to lose weight. It's whether they're going to stand there and commit to that, and whether they're going to believe in that, and whether they're actually going to be willing to put that out there. Because there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people are not willing to put out in front of other people. This is why I say that you need to be putting it out in front of close relationships with your group, in front of someone who you can trust and share that feeling with. Because then it becomes to a position where it's just about you saying it and then going, well, if I don't do it, no one knows anyway.
Now you have to prove it.
Now you've got to do it. Now you got to stand there and face it. And what you see is you see one of two things. They either do it, or they give you all of the reasons why they didn't. And none of those reasons why they didn't are ever because they didn't put themselves to it and they didn't commit. Hardly anybody ever stands in front of me and says, yeah, I haven't lost weight, Dave, because I didn't bother. Yeah? People come onto our body transformation course, and in the 2 courses I've run in this year, before Christmas and after Christmas, and there are 2 courses, and there's 2 people that will fail them. One person, because he didn't even commit himself in the first place, he didn't commit himself in the first meeting that we had. And the second person is because he doesn't believe that he can commit himself. And that is just, it is the way it is, and that is for those individuals to go away, to find out why they put themselves into that position in the first place, to find out why they didn't do it, find out why they've now got to look at all of the reasons that they didn't get where they wanted to go, and then take ownership of it and commit to doing it again in the future and learn from it and go again. Just because you don't get it doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because those 2 people on those courses weren't, they weren't necessarily wrong, it just wasn't the right time for them. But they have to find the reason why. Or they might already know the reason why, but then they've got to commit to it. Because like I said, motivation is bullshit on its own. Because you can walk in the room and you can go, I really need to lose weight. Like my fella earlier on, because I don't want to die and leave my kids on their own. But if he's not willing to commit to doing that, he still will fail. He still won't do it. So you have to get that combination. You have to use your inspiration to then go and find out why you want to do something, and then you have got to go and commit to doing it. And if you do that, you will succeed. But if you don't do one of those 3 things, you won't. Doesn't matter what it is. One of those things will fall away. Does that make more sense?
Incremental achievement is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Very, very, very tiny achievement. I think if you make a decision, whatever it is your reason might be, once you decided, you set your goal, but once you set your goal, then you just have to go back to achieving very, very small improvement.
That's why I have a track.
Very, very small gains. Small gains.
Yeah.
You know.
Training programs are built in that exact way. We write training programs all the time.
I write on the same side.
But we write training programs all the time, right? We talked about a training program for your marathon and your half marathon and all the achievements that that bring, right? When you do a marathon, Lammy went through this with the marathon in Brighton, right? You have to, if you do a marathon and you want to do it for a set time, like Lee's trying at the moment, you have to commit to doing it. You have to know why you want to do it, and then you have to then put all of that work into place to do it. But each stage of the program, you don't just go out and run 24 miles, 23 miles, 22 miles. You go out and you run one. Then you go out there.
I was going to say we should put that together as a training plan.
Yeah, there you go. 150 quid, please.
Completely off the wall training plan.
You don't. What's your first plan? 11 miles, 9 miles a week.
7 or 8.
7 or 8. You know, when we all first started training for the first time, you do a bit at a time, do a little bit, and then you build that up bit by bit. Monica, I said to you when you first joined, remember, we were running, and I said to you, one day you'll be up that top end of the group talking to someone else about when they're struggling, telling them, yeah, I was there once, and I felt that this was awful, I'm running in the group and I hated every second of it and didn't want to come back next week. I said that to you, and at the time you laughed at it. But now, you see it every week. You're there and there's people always behind. There's always someone else there. Because you move through those levels bit by bit, week by week, gradually. But you only do that if you commit. You committed to it. You committed to running. You committed to making training sessions. You committed to doing it in your own time. And you've got it. And that is exactly it. Training programs are built that way. What we do day to day is all built that way. It's all aimed at that sort of stuff. And successful people are the people that take the opportunities and then they commit to them. And that's, if you want to do anything, you want to succeed in anything, no matter what the challenge is, you've got to do exactly that. Surprised that you're not asleep age, to be honest.
It is a bit late for me.
It is very late.
I was going to say something on the subject of successful people.
Yeah.
I've been brainwashing my children for 29 years now, and if you ask them what do successful people do, successful people do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. And in this context, it's getting out there and running or cutting training or whatever. It's always a lot easier to stay home in front of the telly, isn't it? But
100%. 100%. And if you put that little recipe together, you do those three things, and you commit to doing it, and you do what you need to do, then you will be successful. Easy as that. Thank you for coming. My thing is having Cam here kind of just makes everything a lot easier because it opens it up straight away. You can already see, and hopefully everything I've said, you'll be able to relate back to what Cam did and how he did it and everything else. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time as well. Coming in as well. Cheers, mate.
Is everybody feeling